All right, so viewers, fans, subscribers, followers, and Tekken heads all the same, I want to welcome you to the next episode of the Space Bridge out here. Sometimes for PlayStation, other times for PC. So today, we're tuning back in for Tekken in order to resume the ladder of me and Casual Catalogs preceding discussion about Tekken as a whole amidst our deep dive into Tekken 8. So here, I want to say here and also welcome back Casual Catalogs back to the show.
Thank you. How you doing, man? It's good to be back.
That it is. It's good to have you back. All right, so how have you been enjoying Tekken these days?
I mean, it's a mixed bag, truthfully. I know when I was here last, I was probably a slight bit more optimistic in general, but for the most part, as of right now, I'm kind of indifferent. There's a mix of reasons, which I'm sure we'll go into, but I still love the series as a whole, but in terms of hype, the hype is slowly dying out for me, unfortunately.
Damn. Okay. So let's go on ahead and see if we can pick up the pieces of where we left off at. I remember we were talking about how Tekken 8 stands compared to other modern-day fighting games right now. Is what is like the next archetype we were going into, because I know we talked about in chat, this is also last time when we were talking with Noah Black. We were talking about the bigger picture and reflection on like what Season 1 and Season 2 accomplished for Tekken 8 and what they set out to do, what felt fundamentally better about Tekken, better or worse now compared to launch Tekken 8, or like if a new player had joined today, would Tekken 8 feel more welcoming than overwhelming? And we also delved into the premise of the content in DLC. At that time in the conversation, we were in Season 2's era of Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in Season 2's preceding balance patch and meta assessment and system mechanics. So here, the next question I'm going to go into is going into the casual versus competitive debate. So, is Tekken 8 drifting away from legacy Tekken in order to chase new players?
You know, I gotta be honest, yeah. It's very clear that they wanted to appeal to the casual audience. The irony in that, though, is that by doing that, they actually kind of alienated, because while they designed the game more for casuals, they also simultaneously designed the game to be more of an esports now more than ever before. There's a very clear, like, between the game graphically, how it looks as a whole, and what you get out of the game playing it, like the whole shift in dynamic from, again, as mentioned before, the aggressive nature of the game as a whole. It's clear that they wanted this to be a spectacle. They wanted it to be esports. They're putting a lot of money into advertisement and all of that. So despite that that's clear as a business model, they also lowered the barrier of entry. So it's almost like an oxymoron almost.
Yeah, actually I can see the contrast.
I will say, with Season 3 specifically, though, they are heading into a better direction, but there's a lot that's happened between Season 2 and Season 3 that, while the game feels like it's going in a better direction, it's also... things are questionable, you know?
Okay. Let's see. Next question. Are longtime Tekken players being rewarded or challenged too much?
say it one more time? You said
Are
what kind of players?
longtime Tekken players, are longtime Tekken players being rewarded or challenged too hard?
Uh, you know, I can't even say that they're being rewarded in a sense because the game is so much different from Legacy Tekken that as a whole, a lot of and you see it a lot if anybody here watches or follows the pros, like people are disgruntled because it's still so far off from what it is, and what people just want is at least a little bit of that, to quote season three's calling card, return to basics, so to speak. um because that was the whole thing with season three. That was their whole thing that they were advertising with this season. Um, but I wouldn't say that longtime players are being challenged enough, and I would even argue that even newer players aren't being challenged. The I will speak for the rank system in particular at this moment, but the game pushes you forward in rank farther now than ever before. So there's this big bloat in getting the casual audience to catch up to the pros, but in reality, all it's doing is, you know, it's kind of having the opposite effect. Like, because of how the game is, yes, there are things that are easier and more abusable, but by taking away that, like, that journey, by taking away that you have to grind to get to it, and having people catch up to the pros, it, if anything, it shows the gap to the player much quicker, I feel. One of the most common things would be that, the illustrious title of God of Destruction is in question between the community right now because of the bloat and the ease of use and how quickly one can climb up the ladder.
So I take it the God of Destruction title for Tekken was like almost like a rite of passage into saying, okay, I'm decent to good at the game. I don't have to be godlike at the game, but I'm good enough to have gotten this far. But you
Well,
think that
in
the game or the
in
mechanics probably
season
might
one,
cater
God
towards
of
making it
Destruction
easier?
was the highest rank. So they added 8 more ranks that reset every season now. God of Destruction 1 through 8, or Infinite as it's actually called, but it's 1 through 8. Um, but in adding that, before it was impossible to get past God 3, even for pro players, just because of how much that grind took. And now, a lot of people are getting God, and that's making pros kind of like look down at the rank. I'm seeing, like, I see the vision of trying to make things easier for players and give people that feeling of like, yes, I'm being successful with the game right now. I'm getting better. But it almost seems to be having an opposite effect in some cases. But I'm speaking solely for the online warriors like myself, because at the end of the day, the truth is always, if you're an offline player and a tournament goer, none of that matters in the grand scheme of things, like rank and all that. It's just a matter of, how well you play come tournament time. But online matters more now than ever just because of how fighting games are. There's no more arcades, at least not in America.
That's true. That feels like because I don't. Offline, sure, but arcades, yeah, they are far and few, if not probably extinct around here.
Yeah. And if we do have arcades, they have retro shit. They don't have, they don't have Tekken 8.
Because I know malls were like a really good practitioner of like having arcades always in abundance and ready to go, but
Mm-hmm.
malls are far and few, if not are also falling out after like COVID passed.
Mm-hmm. And you could even see that a lot of the regions that do so well still have that arcade culture. Pakistan and Korea in particular, they still have arcades. And shocker, they're two of the strongest regions in the world right now for Tekken.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's just a certain aspect to a fighting game that, you know, we try to bridge the gap, you know, with stuff like Discord and, you know, stuff like the Tekken Sundays and groups, online battles, online tournaments and stuff. But there's still just that little bit of disconnect that I feel like really matters, you know? So when we look at it and we're like, is it becoming easier or challenging for the higher level? You know, I mean, it is sort of like, it depends on who you ask type of question, but I feel like it's becoming more difficult, you know?
That's a logical assessment, I think. If it's the more spread out it is, then the less resources are accumulated. Yeah, yeah. Next question. Can Tekken realistically satisfy both casuals and pros with one balance patch philosophy?
No. Pros, possibly, but casuals, I mean, I don't even think it's so difficult with these things that like because people tend to parrot other people, especially like casuals, they tend to parrot like pro players and stuff. So if the pros aren't happy, the casuals aren't happy. But if you make the pros happy, the casuals could in theory be happy. But if you look at the things with like, you know, I don't go in there super often, but I'm a part of the Tekken official Discord, and I've seen the portal that they had for like if there's something wrong with the game, you know, let us know and this and that. And it's tons and tons of, you know, relatively lower ranked players, casuals, that are complaining about things that if those thing like if the thing that they wanted happened, the game would be even more unbalanced. Like a common one that I see is, why does this move not always hit? You know, why is it when I do this and he moves to the left or right, or, you know, sidestep, why does my move miss? And it's like, that's the point of the 3D fighting game, my friend. Like, of course it misses. He sidestepped you. But people, the casuals, want their moves to always work. And when you look at that, and you see that, like, it's not even up for debate. That's literally what people were saying in those chats. And if you look at that and then think about the stuff that pros complain about with Tekken 8, where it's like, why does everything track all the way? Why is everything guaranteed? This is just a pure 50-50 mix. There's no option select, blah blah blah. The two sides are clashing with each other. They're both asking for what the other opposite wants. And I think that that's confusing for the developers, because now they have to play the balancing act, and that's just not fair, you know?
Yeah, that's like a constant, like, inconsistent tightrope.
McGrady, how you doing, man?
One thing
I'm
I
in the
thought
middle
about.
doing a little podcast here with my buddy Rodimus.
Hey, welcome in, welcome in.
Welcome in.
If you
We're
guys have
talking
any,
about the state of Tekken.
yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns while we're going through, feel free to post them, and I'll go on ahead and I'll take a read, and then we can also include them into the general Q&A. Let me see. Because I know there was a theory when I was coming up the road one point this past week. I was thinking about like a PR person or someone that could like gather the general opinions of the many, and then those would be generally presented to the rest of the team. So kind of like a PR manager or like a media manager.
Right.
I think that would probably be like the more optimal way of handling like actual constructive feedback in like the totality aspect for what can pivot or create the correct pivot for a direction.
Right. So here's the thing, right? If you look at Tekken 8, or even if you look back at previous Tekkens, the person that did that type of stuff was Harada, the creator of Tekken. He kind of did his own PR thing where people would ask him questions and stuff like, DLC or this and that, and he kind of always, like, that's what made him endearing as a game dev, was he responded to the people directly. There was no middleman. The problem that I kind of alluded to earlier was that he's not with the company anymore. And as recent as, I would say, I think it was this week, I saw on Twitter that the lead developer, or like the guy that was currently in charge, I believe he goes by Nakatsu, he also left the company. So now, from a business standpoint, Tekken has no leader. It's just Bandai Namco. And Bandai Namco is the reason why there's a battle pass and microtransactions and the whole drama with why was Heihachi and his stage two separate payouts. That's all Bandai Namco. All of the greed that's forced into Tekken 8 is Bandai Namco. So when you have the two people who are more or less bastions of the people left the company, it doesn't look great. And that's kind of why I led with, like, I'm kind of indifferent with how I feel about Tekken, because as a game, it's getting a little bit more polished. I can't lie. It definitely feels better than on release. But for the future of it, I don't even know if I could say that I want to continue to compete, because how could you want to compete in a game where even the devs don't know what they're doing? That's not good.
That's a really fair divide. Because, like, the product is beautiful, but it's just engaging with the product is where I'm not sure all the time. That's an unfortunate state of uncertainty that I can't say the whole of the game like drove us here, but only like maybe just like past the first quarter. Next question. And so here's where we're going to go into the season 3 speculation without overhyping. Although, actually, in our current timeline, though, chat, we actually are in the start of season 3. So insert right here. So season 3 started beginning of May, didn't it?
Yes, roughly around that time.
Okay, and that was also when we got the general battle pass. There was the patchwork that came with it too that was here that I was also going to try to find. But the first question that I had here while I'm actually trying to find that was to... Oh, here we go. Patch 3.01. So the first question I had was, what does Tekken 8 need most in Season 3? Not want, but what does it need?
From a gameplay standpoint or as a product? Like as a whole game?
Let's split this up. So let's talk about it first as a product.
So as a product, there is not enough stuff in here, and we talked about this last time, so I won't go super in depth, but as a product, it's missing the casual aspects of the game. It has the story mode, which is, a beautiful cinematic thing. And it has Tekken Ball and tons of customization. But after those things, the only thing that's really in the game is ranked gameplay. And if you want to get technical, there is quick match, but that's all that there is to it. And, the argument could be made like, well, it's a fighting game. Of course, all you're supposed to do is fight. But if you go back as early as like 2010, 2012, around that era, fighting games had tons of stuff. They had arcade mode, they had survival mode, time attack, they had little mini games and stuff in that. There was so much more content in the game as a whole that like something to do outside of just fighting each other. And I feel like fighting games need that, because part of the reason why people get so burnt out and so angry is because they're just fighting all the time. And I know it sounds ironic being like you need something else to do in a fighting game other than fight, but that's how they were. That's how they were for a very long time. There were always tons of other fun little mini game style modes that you could do, and they only recently started taking those out as early as, well, Tekken 8, and then in Street Fighter 5 tried to do it, where and that was part of the reason why Street Fighter 5 struggled, was because the game came out with nothing. Basically, it didn't even have an arcade mode, and people were like, "Where's the arcade mode? How is the godfather of arcade fighting games not gonna have an arcade mode in it?" And you just kind of see that more and more, where it's like, so after I finish playing ranked for an hour, what do? I already beat the story mode, so now what? And if the answer to that is keep playing ranked or play another game, that's not a good product.
Okay, I can see why, because it would probably be just that would be kind of polarizing, kind of. Let me see. Next question. Should season 3 focus on system changes or character refinement?
The question's actually already been answered by what they've done already, and it is system changes. They've been tackling the heat system since the start of season 3, and this is the first time where, you know, the Tekken community is like, okay, we're moving in the right direction. It's not all doom and gloom. You know, it's not all, oh, well, you know, the game's unbound. Like, because they're tackling the heat system and making it so that it's not so suffocating and abusive while also still keeping the aggressive nature of it, they're finding that balance, and people are finally starting to breathe like a sigh of relief. The next thing after they finally like get that to a perfect happy medium is character specific stuff, but those are always, you know, hit or miss, because of course the people that main that character are like, don't touch my character, or buff them, you know, profusely. But there's only been nerfs and like making things settle down, and you can see it where people are like, okay, this is starting to become a game worth playing again, and that's good. That's a very good positive thing about it. It's just unfortunate that these balance changes and stuff started happening after the head of the Tekken guy left. So that's why I'm so, I don't want to say pessimistic, but why I'm so overtly cautious about the future of this game.
Right, because it's like something good, and we're gonna also delve into this while we're going through. We're gonna delve into that because it's in the middle of something really good, and then something kind of bad follows.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I can't really be happy in general. I can just be like aware, but yeah, like you said, just alert and aware.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. What mistakes from season 2 do you think should not repeat? Or if season 3 does nothing but polish, is that enough?
I think if they do nothing but polish, that is enough. And in terms of what mistake they shouldn't make, it's something that thankfully so far they haven't done yet, which is buff. Because it's just been buffs and buffs and buffs. And season 3 has very, actually, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure season 3 has only been nerfs and bug fixes. So that's honestly perfect. because that was the biggest problem, was so many characters could do whatever they wanted with no, you know, no counterplay. And now they're adding counterplay. One of the biggest things that they did was with heat, you can no longer extend combos with heat engagers, because that was a huge thing. Was like you would get comboed, you would do the heat bound, and then you could further tailspin it, and then reset the situation into a launch by hitting them with the secondary heat engager. Oh, thank you for the follow, Rod.
No, always. I thought that I was always already following. That's why I just had to check real quick.
But yeah, that was a huge thing there. And then there's been damage reduction, which is also huge. So they're not making any mistakes, with the balancing so far in season 3. It's been pretty nice. I have been hearing mixed things about the new character Kunimitsu, but I'm assuming we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, she will be the next part of the analysis. Oh, you can go on ahead. You can go on ahead. Oh, so you can go on ahead. No, she'll be the next part of the analysis.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I don't think that there's too much else to say. And that's the weird part about season 3 so far, is that there isn't a lot to say right now, because they've been nerfing stuff and like making stuff a lot better with the heat reduction and all of that, but it's also like they're taking baby steps, so it's almost really, really hard to be like, oh, well, they did these amazing, massive, sweeping changes in season 3, but it's like all they've really touched so far is the heat system, which is honestly very needed. They should have done it much earlier, but it's still getting handled now nonetheless. But we got a long way to go. It's only June.
That's true. We're halfway through the year and we're only at the start of the pass, so we do got a journey ahead of us.
What's going on, Ray?
Hey, Ray, what it do?
Yeah, we're doing a little. We're talking about the status of season 3. If you have anything you'd like to add, feel free to put it in the chat.
So let's see. My next question at the time was going to be, who do you think is the next DLC character in order to start the proper resurgence? So in that question, chat, I also want us to take a look at the season 3 pass, and we're going to take a look and break that down actually while we're here, since all the cards are actually revealed at this point. And call me Bonrad. Hey, Bonrad, welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you in for the brain work. Welcome in for the Tekken discussion. So let's put up this thing here on the screen here for the Tekken Season 3 pass, if you would be so kind. That's the outline for the Street Fighter thing. That's another discussion, because that's some good shit. So, Kunimitsu, Bob, Jack Jr., or wherever this kangaroo came from.
Roger.
And then Yujiro. So, in your opinion here, so between all of them originally being the 4 characters and then the guest character here, how is Season 3's template here systemically going to try and put Tekken back in the pool here?
Well, so for one, they're hitting the legacy audience, because Bob is a Tekken 6 character and Roger is actually a really old Tekken character. But in doing that, it's clear that they're trying to appeal to the pro level people, the vets, if you will, with these character picks, because I mean, while a casual player will probably see Bob and Roger and think, "Oh, those are funny, goofy characters. I'd like to play them." It's definitely not like a viral pick. Like Kunimitsu was very clearly the reason why they started with her is because you got cute female ninja. That's viral. And then Yujiro Hanma, that's one of the most popular animes ever. So it's clear that they want to start and end on a high note, whereas Bob and Roger are for the vets who are constantly asking for characters. And Roger hasn't been a character since Tekken Tag 2. So that's also pretty huge, having a retro character like that return.
Okay. How far back does Roger go in the Tekken files?
Roger is Tekken 3.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's a old character. He might even be Tekken 2, but I don't want to say that and be wrong. But he's definitely Tekken 3. And essentially what he is in the lore of Tekken,
Oh, here
there's
we
a
go.
lot of like mad scientists going on. Like Brian is a cyborg that was made by a scientist. Nina and Anna are cryogenic humans, which is why they always look so young. And then the Jack robots are also, part of all of that. And so Kuma and Roger were essentially like hyper intelligent animals that were made to like further be combat soldiers, basically. But Roger, I think, just wound up becoming like a very lazy, almost like a very lazy middle-aged father, I think the joke was. And so his mom, Roger. It's called Roger Jr. because the baby in the pouch is the follow up to that, and the mom is pretty much taken over or taken the place of the old Roger.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out here because I was thinking Roger Jr. I mean, Joe. He's a Joey. Wait, do the males or the females generally have pouches? I thought they both do.
They both do, but that's the mom. Gigi's drip.
So Roger Jr. is generally the. It is the bigger kangaroo, or Roger
It's
Jr.
the baby.
usual.
It's the baby.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure even in the if you look at the battle pass or like the where it shows all the characters, it shows she's wearing a chain that I think says mom on it.
Uh, yes, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they definitely made her more ripped and muscular because they kind of had like twigs for arms before.
Yeah, but hell, that didn't stop kangaroos in their own native land from really still having good upper body mass, even if they don't
Mhm.
always look like they have like the muscle build they do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so Roger Jr. and Bob have appealed to the older base. Kunimitsu, I guess, is the pretty face that kind of leads it off. So let's take a quick look here into Yujiro. So, for you guys that know, Yujiro was the reveal a combo breaker that's going to be the end game for this pass here. And so while I'm looking up here, for those that are wondering who Yujiro Hama is, I also have the tweet here where somebody actually saved this exact exhibit A of who he is and why it's just it may be another Akuma. So, hey, I'm all for this. What are your thoughts on Yujiro Hama?
um. So as a Baki fan, I'm excited, obviously, because if there's any if there's any like fictional character or character from an anime that would actually fit in the Tekken universe and not seem like they're downplaying their power or the opposite where the character is too weak to hang with the Tekken universe, it would be the Hanmas from Baki because they are more or less the Mishimas basically. Same father son feud, same with the fathers and sons being the strongest fighters on the planet. It's just the absurdity of Baki characters is kind of cranked up to 11. But in the story mode of Tekken 8, Heihachi literally headbutts a meteor to explode. So, they also are pretty absurd in their own right. But I think he's going to fit very well with the Tekken cast. I'm wondering how he's going to work with I'm wondering how he's going to work with the how he's going to look in the game aesthetically, because Baki has very, very odd yet like iconic animation with their characters, but it's just muscle on muscle, vein on veins, you know what I mean? Like, it's really
Right. It's almost like a bodybuilder ish approach, but he's not a bodybuilder.
yeah, like, I don't want to use the word like freak, but they definitely don't look human.
No,
And
no.
Tekken, even though it is a pretty ridiculous franchise in its own right, the characters still all look relatively human. Even Brian, who's this insanely powerful robot cyborg guy, he just looks like a white dude, you know?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. From a gameplay standpoint, however, I don't know if, and this is why people are doing the Akuma comparison, because I don't know how you could put a character like Yujiro Hama in this game and him not be absurd, like, and be like extremely powerful. Just based off of, if I had to imagine a move kit from him, like, he would have so many different, because he's the strongest creature on Earth. That's his name in Baki, right? The ogre. But he has this special fighting stance called the demon back. So already I'm thinking he's either going to have a stance with the demon back or an install, which already spells trouble. And his feats alone, from a fighting standpoint, like, he does all types of fighting. He can do grappling, he can do jabbing, he can do, so many, like, he adapts to fighting styles. So if they really wanted to get crazy, they could even give him sort of like a Mokujin style where he copies a character's move, because that's just how he is in the show. And based off of, I don't know anything about Final Fantasy 15, which I believe is where Clive's from, but based off of the people that I know that did play
16, I
that
think.
game, they said that he was pretty much 1-to-1. So it's clear that, with the guest characters, they want to stay true to the source material, and they did a very good job with Geese and Akuma in that regard as well. So from a quote-unquote competitor's standpoint, I'm nervous. But from a fanboy, I think he was a perfect fit. I also find it a little funny that they changed their tune, because they said outright that season 3, the last character would not be a guest character, and now all of a sudden we got Yujiro Hanma.
When did they say it wasn't going to be a guest character, though?
I don't remember, it was when they were doing the Tekken talks, but they said that season 3 will be an original character. Now, again, maybe I'm confusing it with season 2, but I'm pretty sure that they said that because season 2 had nothing but callback characters, like, they didn't have anybody new. So they wanted a new character for this. But maybe by them saying new character, it's more or less just omitting that it wasn't going to be a guest character. But who knows?
Well, when they did guest characters before, they did guest characters that were generally like known to the genre.
Right.
That would work either from Street Fighter into Tekken, or KOF into Tekken, or
Yeah.
Ready or Die into Tekken, or even
There
City of the Wolves.
there
or
is a
Fatal Fury
Baki
into Tekken.
fighting game, but I haven't played it. Have you?
No, I didn't even know Baki had a fighting game like that. I knew Baki might have had a game out there, because what anime doesn't have a game yet?
Yeah.
Or at least some type of
It
game
was a
source.
fighting game called something Blood, I think. I don't remember. I had it wish listed until Yujiro got announced in Tekken, and I was like, nah, I'll just wait for that instead.
Ah. So okay, so I think
Although,
we're
don't
all
mind if I crash the party.
pretty much got the. What's up?
Aloha.
You are free to. We are here weighing in presently on the aspects of present Tekken, and we're in the season 3 ideology right now of where everything is right now in our discussion. We're just about halfway through it, actually.
Gotcha.
That was a misclick. I didn't
Let's
mean to
see
do
here.
that.
So to recap, so with the patch that was here, and I also put the patch up on screen. The patch listed here will also be in the VOD for you guys out there, so you can see what the patch looks like so far on Kunimitsu's lead. So far, aesthetically speaking, I think that Kunimitsu lives up to her design detail. From what I've heard so far from your intake and a couple others, it feels like her meta currently doesn't feel too ominous. Does she play more or less like how she played in Tekken 7?
She does play very similar to her Tekken 7 counterpart, but there's already, and I believe Nee tweeted about it, she has a low poke, and it's a low poke with the weapon, so you can't parry it. That leads into her back turn mix-up, which can essentially loop into itself. And I think because the pushback was so absurd that there's no counterplay to it at the moment. So she has a vortex that's pretty much unstoppable, but that's the only bad thing that I've heard about her at the moment.
That's not totally a loss in like the bigger picture of like how she works. Is like the rest of her movement or her mix, quote unquote, is it like gimmicky or pretty straightforward?
She's always been a pretty straightforward poke heavy character. She does have some new like stance mixed up tools. I personally actually haven't gotten to play with her a lot because I was just during the time that she came out, I was actually more focused on getting God of Destruction myself and improving my game plan. So I didn't truly care too much about the character. But now that I had a little bit more time to look at her, yeah, it's been pretty good. She's pretty. I would say that they've done a really good job these last couple DLC characters making them tame. You know, obviously they're strong because they're DLC, but they're not broken the way that Anna was when she came out.
Okay.
Actually, I could probably let me look at her. Let me go to her right now.
Let me take a look at Streamy.
I know that her movement got nerfed. She had a very good backdash, and similar to Zafina, I think she also got her backdash killed a little bit.
All right, let's see. Let's pull you up on the main screen. Yeah, some of this movement I remember. You taking her into a casual or rank?
I just play ranked all the time.
Oh, okay.
There's no point in differentiating the two. At least for me, that's just my own personal.
You are a brave man.
That's the word I'd use.
Yeah.
Certainly not insane.
No, I mean, heck, some people that you can hop in there and just laugh. Now, if a new character just came out day 0 and you just hop right into rank and you're like at the highest rank there is, I'm just like, no, you are a madman.
Oh yeah, she's still got the full screen kunai. Oh, that's a 2 break.
Okay. And chat, while we're going through, give your weigh-in or your thoughts to Kunimitsu or to the lot of Season 3's current roster right now. That way I can have an idea on your thoughts to the matters. Next assessment is to look at Season 3's present stance right now. So we're going to take a look at the recent things that were said in the communities and whatnot regarding the leave taking of Nakatsu, and also with Harada. So with Nakatsu Harada, I'm going to take a look at what it is that he actually posted here. And so I'm going to recite what it is he said here. It's in Japanese and it's in English. I'm going to go over the English aspect, and then chat while we're going through. You guys can also weigh in. So let's see here. In leaving Bandai Namco Entertainment after 20 years with the company, ever since I first discovered fighting games as a student, I spent countless days in arcades, completely immersed in competition and battling against others. For someone like me, becoming a part of the company I had always admired, Namco, was truly a dream come true. Looking back now, I realize that the opportunity that led me there was made possible by the many friendships and connections I built through fighting games and the people I met along the way. As I reflect on the past 20 years at the company, I remember first stepping into game development through Soul Calibur 4. Later, I was given the opportunity to work on the Tekken series, a franchise that had a tremendous impact on my life and one that I had always hoped to someday give back to. Being surrounded by passionate and incredibly talented mentors and colleagues, and dedicating ourselves wholeheartedly to game development together remains one of the most cherished experiences of my life. In particular, being entrusted with the role of game director for Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 gave me the opportunity to connect with fans and members of the fighting game community from all over the world, sharing excitement, celebrating together, spending unforgettable moments with all of you because one of the greatest treasures in my life. There were many joyful moments and many difficult ones as well. There were times when we celebrated together and times when I received passionate criticism and encouragement. Yet every one of those moments helped push both myself and the Tekken project forward. Whether it was hearing someone at an event say, "Hey, thank you for working so hard for us," or being told, "You need to balance the game better." Every one of those comments supported me and motivated me, and for that I'm truly grateful. And to the development
Quick
team,
little side note.
what's up?
I think it shows a lot about how vocal the community is, that in his leaving speech he felt the need to mention that like people would come up to him and say balance the game better. I feel like that's a little absurd.
That's crazy when you think about it. It's like, damn, that's good. That's
Like
hearing
that
good
happened to him
criticism
so
and bad
much that he
criticism.
had to bring it up.
Yup. That's like the
Oh
same
my
as someone
God.
like on their like that's like the same as a dev member or something on their retiring day. You just like give members will say, "Hey, thank you for making this game for us." And it's like, "Your game is trash."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's godlike. And he's just like, "Hey, it's all part of the job. Thank you."
That is also true. He did take it on the chin.
Yeah. Kudos to this guy. And to the development team members who fought alongside me for so many years, I can never thank you enough. There is no doubt that everything we achieved was made possible because of this team. I am deeply proud that I had the opportunity to create games alongside such incredible people who poured their hearts into this work while my role leading the team as game director is coming to a close. The values that both I personally and the Tekken project have always cherished, staying close to the fans and the community and building the game together, will never change. I have entrusted those values and that baton to the incredible team that will continue to shape the future of Tekken. As I look forward to the future of Tekken in the FGC, I will also continue taking on new challenges as a game developer. I hope our paths cross again someday. Get ready for the next battle. To everyone who has supported me through this journey, thank you from the bottom of my heart, with gratitude to Tekken fans and the fighting game community around the world. Kohei Ikeda, or Nakatsu. That's clean.
Yep. And so what wound up happening? Well, we don't know where he went, but when Harada left, he's making a new company.
Yeah, Harada went into SNM.
Yeah, he's working with SNK. Yeah.
SNK, yeah. Which I thought was an interesting pivot that we go from Bandai to SNK.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I think SNK might just own it, but I think it's him running the helm and then having multiple other people do it as well. Like I think that there are other guys that didn't work at SNK. Like I don't know. From what I don't follow social media enough to be like, "Oh, I know the ins and outs." But it looks like he's putting together a super team to continue making fighting games because before he left, he said I got one more in me. He said he wanted to make Tekken 9. So I think between the practices that Bandai Namco might have been putting him through behind the scenes and the unrelenting negativity coming from the community, I mean, it took away him wanting to do that. But it's clear he still wants to make games.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I mean, heck, making a video game, while it is like a decently long commitment, it can be a joy on some levels too to like make that next big thing that people enjoy in this generation or the next one. And he's made a pretty good amount of them. Hell, Tekken is like a really like lustrous template that you can just edit a little bit, but for the most part, you're making a long, on-standing series, and before you know it, you make a franchise.
Yep.
See, another one I was looking at here was what was it? Moon Sault Slayer. Where I was taking a look at a couple of his tweets, where it was mainly just going over the aspect of what he thinks about Brain.
Oh, here you
Bandai
go,
as a
right
company.
here.
What?
Oh, he's in the lounge where I'm at.
What?
Yeah, Vol Skimmer, that's him. It looks like maybe he was watching Noah and them fight.
Wait,
But
hold on. Moon Sault Slayer is in your lobby right now.
Yeah.
Bro, I was
He
just getting ready to
occasionally
talk about
pulls
this
up
guy.
for the Tekken Sunday to watch and make fun of Noah.
Bro, what the?
Nah, he gives Noah a hard time in a good way, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at this man's tweet. See, chat, this is one of those weird ask and I shall receive type things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, see, just for that, we're going to leave his tweet. I'd rather not poke the bear. Next assessment as we go into this is, where do you see, so with what we know about the patchwork currently, the outline for how Tekken's current season will adapt and evolve as we gradually move towards Bob's part in this, and then the leave taking for both Nakatsu and Harada. Let me also take a look to see who is the project manager now. Give me kind of an idea. Where do you see the projection of management, or what they're trying to retain as we proceed with the rest of 2026?
I'd like to imagine, especially because of how big of a company and how big of an IP that Tekken is, I'd like to imagine the rest of this season might actually go smoothly. Like, I think that they already have the rest of this year planned out. It's more like next year I'm raising an eyebrow out. And I feel like I'll get my answer if we don't even get a season 4. You know what I mean? For the future of this game. But I think that I'd like to imagine, just to put my mind in the shoes of a company, that they have the rest of this year planned out and are gonna go through with it smoothly. I forgot to mention while we were talking about Yujiro, his announcement alone I think gave Tekken another big chunk of sales. I don't remember the number, but a lot of people bought Tekken that day when he was announced.
Who? Yujiro?
Yep.
I believe it, because that could introduce, because is an appeal for both competitors and casuals, and so this goes into one of the weird arguments that I made a long time ago in my one of my Mortal Kombat documentations, was that guest characters, if guest characters are done right or chosen right, they can add another layer of appeal, interest, and investment towards players, casual and competitive, to the scene. It can even add a lifespan onto it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at Smash Bros. That
It's
series
like
is
Guest
as
City.
successful as it is because it's a hot pot of franchises.
Yeah, and it works. Hell, the only other one that came close in that regard was probably Multiverses, that tried to get something close to that, where it was like a good melting pot of like different franchises.
That would have gone somewhere too, had it not been for everything else. Like, I don't know what they did to make the game fall off like that, but they definitely did something wrong.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Yasuda Esports, the chief producer of Tekken and Tekken Project Inc. I think this might be one of the main representatives of the Tekken Project as general on the team. Hang on. So games are built by large teams. Each section interacts with and complements the others, coming together to create a single product. The future of this product is shaped not by the comings and goings of specific individuals or rumors, but by the continuous efforts of the entire team and the feedback from all of you. Please take your time playing the product our team has delivered and send us your feedback through the Tekken Dev feedback portal. Portal is listed right here. Portal is also going to be listed for you guys down below. Reactions on our Discord server are also a critical data point. This is the most reliable way to bring your voice directly to the development team and make the product better together. We read every piece of feedback and carefully consider whether or how to incorporate each into the product. It is through that accumulation of effort that this project will reach where it aims to go. There are no changes to the project's long-term plans. Milestone by milestone, the team will continue moving forward. I like
Yeah,
this.
so
This was
sounds like more or less what I said.
Yeah, this was tweeted out by the team June 5th, just literally a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, because I imagine plenty of people were talking about, like, what is happening.
Very. And then Harada's post here, that was from June 4th. That was different. Let me see. Last question. So, where does Tekken 8 stand compared to other modern fighting games right now?
I believe that Tekken 8 is actually, despite everything discussed today, I think it's in a relatively okay spot. And I only say something as mild as okay because before this, it was pretty much in a bad spot. I think that there's a big upsurge for it. I think that there's a lot of hype for Yujiro. I think that, if they continue to just nerf and balance and not buff anything else, I think that it's only up from here. And I believe that, because I mean, let's be honest, they're a company. They want to make money. So
You're
I
gonna
don't
put out
think that they
98
can handle another review bomb, So I would like to imagine it'd be in their best interest, unless they're about to abandon the franchise as a whole, to just do, like I said, the proper balance adjustments and just not touch anything else. If they just kind of coast in the direction that they're doing right now, we should be fine. They did say that they're going to be doing more frequent updates for this, And as of right now, we've been seeing that still because in Season 2, we got the one update, a bug fix, and then we were stuck with how Season 2 was for the whole year. And I think that was the biggest factor into Tekken 8's decline. So as long as we're not stuck playing a suboptimal game for a year straight again, I think we're going to be just fine. And in terms of how I feel about the game, like it's awkward. To be completely honest, I am more burnt out on the community's negativity and dooming rather than the game as a whole. I think the game as a whole has gotten a lot better, but it's hard to want to continue to play something that people constantly hate. You know, it just gets exhausting after a while.
It can feel that way. And the key part about this is that other people's opinions about a product or a game that you enjoy playing or that everybody still keeps playing, it shouldn't be this overbearing to enjoy the product while it is still here to enjoy and it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like they think that because like the main head of this thing goes away, that the thing just dies tomorrow. Then what type of faith did you have in the product you bought in the first place? If you didn't think that the guy couldn't step away and the rest of his team that he invested in to resume his vision with him can also continue the vision without him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the I'm right there with you because it's like he should have had, you know, the layup set up for his team where it's like, all right, this is what I want it, do it like this, and you guys should be fine. But I think what it really boils down to is again, there's this nasty echo chamber in social media, and because it's everywhere, even because I'm not on social media, I'm not. I know I stream and stuff, but I'm not a social media guy, and yet I still have all the information that I have because that's how like that it's everywhere. Even somebody who's not active on Twitter and stuff like that, I still hear all of these things because it's just everywhere. You can't avoid it. And I think that if the community as a whole just, you know, just chills out just a little bit, the same advice that I just said for the devs, the community also has to do. Everybody needs to chill out and just go back to enjoying the game as is a game, because that is, at the end of the day, you know, despite esports and all of it, we're just talking about a game, and a game is meant to be played, and that is it. So I think if we get back to that as a community, I don't see Tekken going anywhere. However, if you don't mind me derailing for a little bit,
Let's take the train tracks.
Virtua Fighter 6. Did you see the trailer for that game on Summer Game Fest?
No. I had my hands tied in the other communities for Demon Slayer. What did I miss over there? Let me go hunting.
So the game itself looks absolutely incredible, but what they had like a whole like 15-minute little spiel on their vision for Virtua Fighter and what they were trying to accomplish with it. And they basically said that they wanted the game to have multiple, what I was referring to earlier, where I was saying that there's not enough content in the game. They are more or less, instead of just making a Virtua Fighter 6 and it just be Virtua Fighter 6, they're making an entire open world fighting game. It almost looks like a Yakuza game instead of a fighting game.
Crossroads? Virtua Fighter Crossroads?
Yes, Crossroads. That's what Virtua Fighter 6 is being called.
Oh, damn. Hang on.
And I think if they nail that, it sets the bar for future fighting game titles in a very good way, because that's genius. And it's been done before in Mortal Kombat. With Mortal Kombat Armageddon, that's what they did. They did an entire open world RPG style thing with Armageddon, and that was fantastic. And Mortal Kombat, I I believe is still outselling Street Fighter and Tekken, and it's because even though from a competitive standpoint, it's not the most balanced game. Mortal Kombat never skimps out on the content. They have the test your might mini games. They have like these weird like modes where random stuff flies at you from the screen. They have customization. They have their whole story mode. They have the arcade towers and events and all of this stuff where it's like if you're gonna like it just needs to be that way. I understand the hype around esports, but they shouldn't be chasing that.
Chase the hype, but well, don't chase the hype, but chase the vision. If you compose the vision of the product, that's what rewards you with the hype.
And it's that exactly, and I feel like it's not too late. I know that they haven't done it or even announced or hinted at it, but they could always, like, the world is their oyster. They can literally just be like, okay, tomorrow we're gonna announce team battle or Tekken ball or whatever. They can add modes whenever they want, and I think that they should. One of the things that I heard Harada wanted to do is he wanted some sort of online team battle mode. And I'm like, that would have been amazing. Why didn't we do that?
Oh, wait, an online team. Wait, for virtual fighter or just like
No, for
for
Tekken
Tekken?
8. Harada wanted that for Tekken 8, and they didn't do it.
That would have been an interesting game mode to put on the side. That's not something that they tried to make like the whole thing become, but that would have been a nice thing to see just as a side interest.
hmm But I still have high hopes for the game, despite everything. I just think that it's in a very awkward spot, and I think that we shouldn't do any sudden movements. We should just coast it out, let season 3 breathe, let it be what it is, because we are moving in a good direction. All the nerfs to heat, you know, it's becoming less and less of a two-touch game, and I feel like when you're talking about a heavy movement centric game like Tekken, it shouldn't be a two-touch game. You know what I mean?
Okay. But to have an open world based things, that really sounds like they took the premise of Street Fighter 6 and tried to do its own thing. I'm surprised Tekken didn't try and do something comparable.
Yeah, with the world tour. I mean, the cinematic story mode is awesome. It's just we only got two things of it. Like there should have at least been another part 3, but I heard that they're not adding any more story to Tekken 8. And if that's the case, that's just unfortunate.
Very. Okay. Well, in terms of the Tekken dynamic and the ideology here, that does basically cover everything here that I wanted to sit and talk to you today in finishing up our segment piece.
All right.
And it even went into talking about everything in the current, because I originally wrote this out in terms of like what the speculations can be going into season 3, but now this actually, because we're still at the beginning of it, it puts an interesting dynamic to say, okay, what did you think before and what do you think currently?
Right. And before I would have said they need to dial it back, but coming out the gate of season 3, they started dialing it back. So they did what I myself and so many other fans wanted, and so they just got to keep doing that. Just don't add anything. What is it? What is it? That old adage? Uh, I don't know. Just don't over season it. You can't unseason salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can always go be a little under, just don't be a little over.
Exactly.
All right. Well, catalogs, I appreciate the time that we had here today in order to sit and delve into a lot of stuff here for Tekken. I look forward to us trying to delve into the next chapter, potentially probably at the end of season 3, or if anything like super major happens along the our intended timeline here to Yujiro.
Word. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, and
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I always love talking Tekken. It was definitely a little bit more chilled out this time because nothing happened, but that's a good thing.
I think that is a good thing. I think people kind of forget because there's always something happening because we're in such a weirdly turbulent time that we forget that nothing happening is usually a good thing, not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're in times where shit's always happening, not in a good way. Nothing's happening in general. That's kind of a good thing. That way, it gives you a chance to breathe.
What's the 1980 what?
1986.
Yeah. Shout out Rodimus Prime 1986. Y'all want to hear more FGC news and all of that good stuff, more chilled out podcasts like this? I just shouted him out in the chat room. Y'all go follow him. He's good
I
people.
appreciate it. Yeah, I traveled back and forth to a lot of different games and so far that I've either played or competed on or hosted to just get an idea on like what makes the community tick and what makes it either different or the same as other communities. And I've had a lot of really interesting deep dives about the community's essence and what makes it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tekken, I've done it. Street Fighter, Demon Slayer, Blaze Blue, Uni, Dragon Ball Fighters from time to time, Mortal Kombat. I have yet to do one for Injustice.
Yeah, well, there might be an Injustice 3 on the horizon.
That's where I'm kind of looking at next in order to see, because like Injustice 2, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad that happened over the years, and I'm hopeful for 3 revitalizing the good aspects, mitigating the bad ones, and I'm just interested to see what characters could possibly have a resurgence to the game that could
Me,
complement the formula the game is trying to do, opposite of Mortal Kombat.
me personally, I wouldn't want an Injustice 3. I would rather they take. And now my comic book nerd is coming out. I would rather they take the recent DCKO run that they just did and make that into a game. I feel like that would be
DCKO.
pretty cool. Like mechanically it's still Injustice, but like story-wise, I think that I would like that. That would be cool.
Okay. I feel like I wouldn't mind Injustice 3's the thing I have about it, and I'm talk about it at some point, is that for Injustice, I want that to be the focus, to continue the focus of where the past comics were at, because there have been a few Injustice comic books, so in theory they could make a few Injustice games, and they just haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mortal Kombat doesn't really go off of a template; it just goes based off of whatever the next installment is. And they've had
Mm-hmm.
multiple different installments where everybody is divided on them because none of them play the same.
Right.
Injustice, while I talked about this on the Poseidon podcast, for Injustice, for the most part, while one is a rushdown game and the other one is kind of a zoner friendly game that it unfortunately evolved to be, they both, for the most part, play the same. They have a formula.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one game of not of the big 3, but of like the big IPs that succeeded in having a legacy template inadvertently. Mortal Kombat's been trying and failing at that every generation. Injustice only had 2 games and got it right on the first shot.
Yeah, sometimes all you need is a fresh coat of paint on something, brand new idea, and lo and behold, you're making money again, you know?
Ta-da! That's it. The key thing is to just not overthink it.
Oh my god.
Who would you like us to raid?
It looks like Zenza and them are playing Smash Brothers, but I believe Noah is also still live. I'm also going to be live for a little bit longer if you want to throw everybody my way, but the choice is yours.
All right, to you we will go.
Top Tetris Bro, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, we playing a little bit of Tetris right now. We wrapping up this lovely discussion with my boy Rodimus Prime here.
Yep. So if you guys hadn't, so let me go on here and pop the Twitter here. So if you guys hadn't followed Casual Catalogs here, feel free to follow him on the Twitter here, or on the Twitch, which we're also still currently interlinked, or on YouTube of the same name, Casual Catalogs. Plays a lot of retro games alongside Tekken, or will generally have a lot of Tekken streams alongside casual pivots, such as Tetris now.
Mm-hmm. Go where the winds take me.
That's it. All right. Let me see here. We're going to go on ahead here and get ready to raid the catalog. So you guys got my emotes, spam them, let them know where you come from. And be on the lookout for the next time we're back through some of these scenes going on here in the FGC. Not entirely sure where I'll go, but you'll see. You'll know. You'll probably know quicker than I do. As soon as the raid feature comes up, here we go. Okay. And like I always say, till all are one.